Hello.
Hello, welcome to our Facebook Live Valentine's Day week special on the topic of the secrets to healthy and happy relationships.
This is our first time doing Facebook Live together. That's one of our secrets to a joyous relationship, is doing new things. We're having a little technical adventure, but I believe it is working now. So, good evening, everyone. We'll give just a few moments for folks to join as we get started. But a little disclaimer, this is a lovely time of year where we're celebrating love and union, but it's also sometimes a tender time. For some of us, we are seeking something, and others of us have recently lost a relationship or a partner. And so we're sensitive to that, and we welcome all of you. And wherever you are, we're here with you. Whether you're in a relationship, whether you are seeking a relationship, whether you are building that beautiful relationship with yourself, you're welcome here. So I think we have some folks. I'll start this off on a personal note.
Shall we introduce ourselves first? I'm Tasha, and this is my husband, Delon.
Otherwise known as Tasha's husband. And that is the biggest delight in my life these days. I feel so blessed to have found this partner, this partnership. It has been such a dream for so long, and it is so fulfilling to be with someone where you feel at home. There were so many relationships throughout my life that didn't give me that weren't fulfilling in that way. But, you know, we're always looking for that person. And how that happens, that we find that individual, is a giant mystery. We can do our best, but there is no silver bullet. There's no magic wand. There is no secret way just to find that partner. What I found in my life that brought me to this point was that it was really about me. You know, there was so many years where I was looking for somebody else to be what I needed from them, to give me what I was looking for in my life, to fill me. And I think it was really only when I finally turned to myself and said, hey, I need to be the source of what I'm looking for, the source of my own joy, the source of my own fulfillment, that I feel I came to a place where I was ready to be the partner that I wanted to be here for Tosh in the way that I wanted to show up in the vision of a relationship that I had, and to gain from it and experience the joy that could come out of that. So we're going to dive into this a little bit tonight. And when we first got married, a very dear friend gave us a bit of advice, a perspective that Tosh will share with you.
Yeah, it was certainly an interesting perspective, and it's been a bit of a guiding light for us since. So what she shared was that a relationship is never ever about two people. In fact, it's only ever about yourself. It's about your relationship with yourself, and that other person, be it your wife, your husband, your friend, your neighbor, your boss, whomever that may be, that person is really just playing the role of holding up a mirror and reflecting back to us the things in ourselves which need the most attention or the most work. Now, of course, sometimes that reflection is not so pretty, and that can be just downright scary. And I guess that's where a lot of the relationship drama comes from, especially in the close relationships. So because we have this tendency of, when we see that reflection of getting uncomfortable and just ignoring it and distracting ourselves with other things, or of blaming the mirror holder, and that just creates more drama. But when we can have that awareness and that courage to just stand there and recognize, oh, what this person is showing me, it's my stuff. It's my opportunity to see this, acknowledge it, and work with it. And that's where that golden opportunity for growth is. So that's the theory of it. Kind of easier said than done, no?
It's a great idea. And sometimes we're successful, and sometimes it's much harder. And so What's exciting is to look at when is that, and how do we make ourselves most aware and most able to stand in the fire of a relationship and to allow somebody to reflect back to us our stuff and be present for them. And there are so many answers to this, but really, to make it very basic, it has so much to do with our energy, with the level of our energy. And you experience this throughout our lives. We all experience this. When you have low energy one day, you're going through your day, everything's challenging, everything becomes so easily overwhelming, right? And in our relationship, that's magnified. We come home from our day carrying everything we had in our day, and now we want to just relax. And now here you come into this space and sometimes it's beautiful and relaxing, and sometimes that other person has something they need from you, or they're reflecting back some frustration, whatever it is. So how do we keep that energy really high, that state of mind clear, open, aware, joyous, positive, so that we can be available to that other person, available to learn what is coming from them for us to gain from, and to be a support for them? This is the magic question. And we all have strategies that we're already using. And Tash will share a few that we've found most helpful.
Yeah, so, we're lucky. There's so many strategies to replenish that energy, that life force in us, to keep our state of mind uplifted and positive. Being in nature, being around positive people, music, laughter, those are all valuable. But what we've found for us as individuals and as a unit, in addition to those practices, we've sort of had three core practices or disciplines that have kept that energy high and helped us again and again come back to a positive state of mind. So those three, the first one is healthy, fresh, organic, plant-based food. The second, good sleep, quality sleep, going to bed early. And then the third one has been meditation for us, and specifically a very special form of meditation, the Sky Sudarshan Kriya meditation. So we were both meditators for a number of years, and before stumbling across the Art of Living Foundation, where one can learn the Sky meditation technique, we tried many different techniques, many schools, many teachers, many workshops, and they certainly all had value. But what we both loved about learning the Sky meditation is that it's just so easy, and the effects are just they're tangible, and they're so long lasting. And it's really, for the both of us as individuals and as a unit, as I said before, it's been a real game changer and really served us. This meditation discipline's been an interesting one for me specifically. Prior to our relationship, my commitment was up and down. It was often dependent on whether or not it was convenient or if I felt like it. And so when we first started out, quite early on in our relationship, we had a bit of a long distance stint where I was living in London. And when Alon would visit, we would go explore the exciting city of London. And of course, we'd start off every day in the early morning doing our Sky meditation. But what was remarkable for me was towards the end of the day, sort of around about 5 p.m., it did not matter where we were going, what we were doing, what was going on. But this one would sit down for 20 minutes without fail and close those eyes and meditate. And this would be in rush hour, in a train station, in the drizzle in Leicester Square, in a theatre foyer to see a West End play. And at that time I thought, this is a little inconvenient. Why does he have to be so stubbornly committed? But actually once we started living together, I really observed how this twice a day, unwavering, steadfast, no matter what commitment to this practice, how it really served him. He has a job where he has to carry a lot of people logistically and emotionally, and it's enough to cause a lot of wear and tear on people. But every day, twice a day, without fail, rain or shine. I've seen how he's able to replenish himself and show up with ever expanding greater and greater capacity and resilience. So it's been a really inspiring example for me in my commitment.
I can't help it. I love meditation. You know, I am a doer. I think the world is fascinating and there's a million things that I want to engage in and be part of, and that takes a lot of energy. And I've found nothing to be more rejuvenating than just twice a day dropping it all and getting this huge source of calm and peace and energy to go back into it with joy. That's actually relatively easy for me. And what's been much harder for me is some fundamentals that many of you may have down pat, but I'm just going to share because they've been so transformative in my life. Tash mentioned these basic sources, the first being sleep. Obvious, but for me, and I know for many others, so I'll share this, it's not so easy. And we love the night, and we have our Netflix on one side and we have our work on the other, or our play. And I love those hours between 10 and 2 or 3 to have a second work day when things are quiet, to focus on something, some project, some creative project, make art, watch movies. It's such a rich time. But it's also a time when the energy is low, and I found myself at times having little conflicts with my wife in that time, or just not doing my most productive work and staying up later and later and later. And when I entered into this relationship and was able to learn from this wonderful woman's incredible discipline to go to sleep early, it was an absolute night and day game changer for me. The morning then became this really special space where I could get things done if I needed to get things done. But the night transitioned from this kind of frenetic energy of creative or just kind of lethargic watching and deadening to a really intentional time of settling, of spending time with my partner, of eating a delicious meal and then doing something reflective and calming to bring me into a state of rest. And this has left me with so much more calm in the day, getting up early and into the day so that you're ahead of the curve and you're not playing catch up all day. And I can't recommend it highly enough. And the second is food. Also, so basic, so obvious, but taking the time to eat 3 meals a day on the right time and the right food itself has been an absolute game changer as well. Having really nutritious, organic, light, beautiful, fresh cooked food has made it a sacred ritual to spend time with my partner and make sure that we're carving out that spaces. But also I've noticed that my energy during the day is no longer as scattered. I would, push and wait to eat, and then that would be times when I would be a little bit more frenetic. And so, this source of energy, I also highly, highly recommend that we put some attention on, and often we're not. But fundamentally, we all have strategies, and strategies that keep us in balance so we feel full, so we can come back to our partner in the highest way. And putting our attention there is the single biggest thing I've found that gives me the centeredness to show up in my relationship the way I want to, and to come from a place of joy and gratitude and giving as opposed to a place of neediness.
Beautifully said. So, in addition to these 3 really valuable practices and commitments to them that have served us so beautifully, we'll also leave you with one more beautiful nugget of wisdom. It's actually from Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, a global humanitarian peace activist. He's also the founder of the Art of Living Foundation. And his recommendation for those who are in partnership or looking for partnership and wanting a healthy, happy, sustainable relationship is for those two people to have a goal or something that's bigger than just those two people, something outside of themselves. Ideally, something that is of benefit to humanity or for the greater good. The analogy he gives is, if if the focus of those two people is just always on each other, just constantly on the relationship, then inevitably at some point they're gonna just either crash or they'll surpass each other. Whereas if they can turn their focus outward to that bigger goal, that bigger vision, then they can go side by side, nice parallel tracks for a long, long, long time. And I really love that wisdom. When I've observed the couples in my life who seem to me like they're thriving, that seems to certainly be a common denominator. So certainly something to chew on and think about.
And my last little thought is that a relationship is often challenging, but it is a commitment that we take. And when we go out of questioning every moment, is this right? Is this the right person? And spend more time reflecting on how am I showing up? And am I really filling myself? Am I taking a commitment to my own self-care and showing up from that space? Then it becomes the richest space of growth and learning and joy and delight. And that is true actually across all of our relationships and our entire life, how we're relating with ourselves and others. So think a little bit, how do you treat yourself? What is your relationship to yourself? How are you showing up with compassion, patience, forgiveness for yourself? And give a little time and commitment to work on those pieces and make sure you're giving yourself all the love that you would want to give somebody else, because really it's how we treat ourselves that ends up being how we treat others and how we treat that other person. And I'll give one little example, one concrete tool or a lesson that I've learned.
While you do that, I'm going to go get a source of energy for our phone because the battery is low.
So she handles everything. The hardest thing for me at times is to just listen. And I think many can relate. And I've learned that there are moments when Tash is sharing with me what she's feeling, that all I need to do is really sit and take it in. And so much of my instinct as a man, and we can get into those generalizations, but is to fix or to deal with. But there are so many times when simply it's my role to just be there and absorb and take it in. And when my energy is low, when my awareness is low, it's extraordinarily hard, right? Immediately I want to defend, I feel that there's blame, or I want to fix if I feel that there's a problem that I can solve. But when I am able to really show up from a place of fullness and realize that I'm not the source, and be full enough to allow Tash to be in her own space, dealing with her own thing, and I can just be there for her, then very quickly she often comes to a new realization through that process, or I'm able to take away from that moment something really of value instead of shutting down and defending. So this is a situation I'm sure many of you can relate with, and it's a constant learning of how just to be there and listen when your partner is dealing with something intense. But having that priority on filling yourself up, using your practices. When we have an intense moment or when there's something that we need to deal with, we will stop and we will say, okay, let's meditate first. Knowing that what we need often is just to refill so we can be present there for the other person, then that person can be the source of their own solutions as well. So that was long-winded, but I hope that resonates for some of you.
So, in summary, you are the love that you're seeking. And all you have to do is go within. And when you go there, then whatever is best for you, whether it's singledom or coupledom, it will come your way.
So we've taken some good time on your Sunday night. I'm just looking if there's any questions. Look in here if you have any questions for us. Otherwise, thank you so much for coming out and being present with us. And I heard something quite nice, that today is actually National Random Act of Kindness Day. So that's another secret, you know, making your relationship a game and a delight, and taking opportunities to keep it fresh and sharing a treat, a thought. It really is the intention, letting your partner know that you're thinking about them, that is so much more meaningful than any specific act. So the more random, the more delightful, the more precious. And here for all of you, we have a rose of joy and friendship and love. And may this go to your heart, and may you pass it on and pay it forward to all others in this week to come. And thank you for joining us. Lots of love and good night.
Mwah.